Join us on our first day in Reykjavik as we explore the southern part of Iceland and part of the Golden Circle. Good morning.
Good morning. Wow. Alright, guys,
You too. Good night. Hi, Lee.
have a great day.
You too. Enjoy.
Thanks.
Good morning.
Have a great day.
I will do. You too. Enjoy.
Our tour was scheduled to begin at 9 a.m. It was a little tricky figuring out where we needed to meet our tour guide because we went through Guide to Iceland, which was a third-party tour site, and they contracted with the local tour guide. I did turn my phone on. That was the key because that gave me access to voicemail he had left for me. And then I was able to call him and we got it all set up.
I wonder if he's down this other way.
He gave us the general area where he was at, which he said was behind the taxis. And that's where he was, but it was a kind of a long taxi line. And we were just looking through it. He did tell us that he was in a Land Rover with a snorkel on it, which there was only one of those. And it wasn't too long before we found him and got on our way. One of the first notable things we saw was Thingvellir, which is a national park. It's an area where the two tectonic plates from the Eurasia and the North American continental plates come together. Actually, they're separating. We didn't stop because we knew we would be stopping there on the following day. Just happened to be on our way to the actual first stop, which was Geyser.
It starts to boil, but once it starts to boil, it will flash boil. So all of the water down here will boil all at the same time, which will cause like a steam bubble to grow and push all of the water here that's above up, which makes a splash.
The geyser that is actually named after the word geyser is not as active these days as the one we visited here, which is Strókar.
It's best not to be downwind.
Yeah.
You might get a little bit wet. But you shouldn't worry if it erupts. Just try to run away. It's not that warm.
Yeah.
It's more likely that you'll injure yourself by falling over if you're trying to run away. In the worst case, you get a
The
little
Strókar geyser can erupt up to about 100 feet in the air or 30 meters. And we weren't disappointed. We got to see a couple nice eruptions on it.
Yeah.
The first eruption that we saw was actually a smaller one compared to the one we waited for and caught later. I actually had to back out on the shot here so that we could get the whole thing in there.
That was awesome. Oh, wow. Double. Damn, what a treat. Look at that.
Somebody called me. Put their feet in it.
Oh, Paul. Here. Thank you.
Our next stop was Gullfoss. This is probably one of the best waterfalls I've ever seen in my whole life. It was just tremendous. It was really windy while we were there. And you'll see the water spray from the falls getting on the camera. This continued to be an issue I hadn't really anticipated for this outing. The waterfalls with the wind created a lot of issues getting clear photography. You can see we're already starting to get water spots, and we're quite a distance away from the falls. But like I said, the wind was pretty strong, and this waterfall generates a lot of spray as it drops off into that canyon. The upper falls drops off about 11 feet, and the lower falls drops off about 36 feet. There's about 5,000 cubic feet per second of water rolling over the edge there. This waterfall, along with Geyser that we visited earlier and Thingvar that we drove past, are all part of the Golden Circle. So if you were doing a Golden Circle tour, you would see these probably, since this is one of the most popular sites in Iceland. You can actually feel this waterfall, not only hear it and see it, but you can feel it. It is so powerful. The water is a mixture of rainwater and glacier water, so you get that nice turquoise blue color from the glacier in it, but it's not pure turquoise like some water sources are. There is a statue of a lady that was supposed to have saved this waterfall from exploitation. From what I've read, that story is not true, but it makes for a good story. Her father and another man were owners of this waterfall and had rented it or leased it to foreign investors because there was talk of turning this into a power generation source. According to the sources that I've seen, that failed because of lack of funds. The story goes that she threatened to throw herself off the falls. This would be our last stop on the Golden Circle for this tour. This tour is one that we put together. We basically did a private tour, and we chose the sites that we wanted to see within the 10 hours that were allotted for the tour. These were sites that we would not see the following day on the tour that we were going to do up through the glaciers and another part of the Golden Circle. So we'd be heading south from here, going along Iceland's south coast. Since our ship, the Zuiderdam, was going to be in Reykjavik overnight, we felt like it was pretty safe to take this long tour out through Iceland, since we would have extra time to get back to the ship if something went wrong. At this point, we could see the Westman Islands in the distance. The Westman Islands were the site of a 1973 eruption of the volcano called Edithel. They also were able to save the fishing village harbor from the volcanic flow by pumping seawater on it, which, to my knowledge, is the only case that this has ever been done. We are traveling along the ring road, Highway 1, that goes all the way around Iceland. And I really just love the scenery in this part of Iceland. Just really didn't get tired of looking at it, and we had a lot of hours in the car this day, but we felt it was worth it.
Right. So sort of wanted to do it, but I pretended it was the first time I was seeing it. So play with them a little bit. So I was like, oh yeah, this is one of these color cubes, right? They said, yeah, no, don't bother. It's been here for 40 years. Nobody's been able to solve it. I said, oh, okay. As we're talking, play around with it. And a few minutes later, they say, oh, no, it's solved. It wasn't that hard. And the guy calls his wife over, like, oh my God, Julie, see this guy? He just solved the cube. It's been here for 40 years. Nobody solved it. How did you do it? And I said, oh, it's not that complicated. You just start with one side, and then you do the other sides. And they were just flabbergasted. And I didn't correct them, you know. I just let them believe that I was some genius, you know. So, the day after we showed up to work at the station, we had an email from the captain of the police of the southern coast of Iceland. And he said, good job, guys. It was an email. Was the guy. He's complimenting the police officers that showed up. He said, very good, very clever. There's probably a reason for why we have such a low crime rate in Iceland. All the policemen they're just so clever, you know. And we had a good laugh. We had a friend of mine, he said, do you know who that is? It's like, is somebody? No, that's the father of the prime minister. I said, oh, okay. And then I didn't think about it, you know, for 2 years. Until I got a call from the same political party as the Prime Minister belongs to. And they asked me if I wanted to run for town council in my town, in St. And I said, yeah, sure, why not? And they signed me up. And they put me very, very high on the list, so I became a town councilman after the elections.
I've said it many times, I know I would change my ways, I know for sure. When all the crows decide to meet, they settle down beneath my feet. I've got it right and I got it wrong, but I learned my lesson hanging on. Come sit here with me by the fire and let it go for a little while. So be here as the night starts falling. Let my fingers walk over your head. We got nothing to be scared of. I'd rather be with you than by myself. Now always in your hands.
This was another waterfall where we had issues with the camera getting wet, but the camera's waterproof, so I wasn't worried about that. It just interfered with the pictures. We did continue farther on near to the waterfall, but there was no use trying to take pictures with the 360 camera or with a camera on the phone.
Control will lead me to an ending road. The only thing that was for me, and I saw the angels coming down, and they sang a song and sang it loud, and I still remember parts of it.
puffins right here.
Yeah.
Negative ways and actually just white one. Literally just white one. Look, somebody just
It was really neat getting to see the puffins. This area was really pretty. Definitely a must stop if you're in this area. It was a short drive off the Ring Road, and fortunately for us, since Colby was a tour guide, he got preferential parking in all these different sites that we went to. We could see our next stop just down the beach there at that next point sticking out. But it would be a few minutes before we got there. We got a little time here to enjoy this beautiful scenery, and the lighthouse, I guess, is an operational lighthouse. We don't really know a whole lot about it, but it appears to be well maintained. This is a very popular area. You can see by all the cars that were parked there as we arrived.
Colin, you hear the whale out there, did you? There he is.
Oh, wow.
There he is.
Oh, wow.
Not the place you usually go. When was it?
I guess we were very fortunate to see that whale. Colby said he had been there probably 100 times and had never seen a whale here. There was a warning sign you may have noticed on the way onto the beach that warns you about what they call sneaker waves, and they recommend don't turning your back to the ocean because the waves can pull people in, and they have several deaths in this area. We took the opportunity to have a quick lunch here at a little hot dog stand that was next to the visitor center. It was made mostly of lamb, but with pork and beef, and had a sauce that Colby recommended. It wasn't too bad. We enjoyed that and got back on the road, and this was our next stop at this waterfall here. We had passed very close to this waterfall on our way along the southern coast of Iceland. Fortunately, as we made our way, I took my video there to the black sand beach because it had started to rain a little bit as we made our way back along the Ring Road to this waterfall. if you visit this waterfall, I'd highly recommend having good water-resistant shoes on, as the footing is a little precarious in spots and it's very wet. You really need rain gear or something like that to protect you from the water, because this one's really wet. But you do get to walk behind it.
Yeah.
The 360 camera gives you one perspective here, but again, I was having issues with water getting on the lenses. I was able to pull out my cell phone camera later here, and you'll see a little better view of how the water looks coming down from behind it.
Yeah.
So cool.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
You can walk under the waterfall from either direction. As a result, you kind of run into some traffic occasionally. At this site where we parked, there's actually two waterfalls, so it was just a short hike down a path to the second one.
No. Just a cave made by the waterfall. It's a cave made by the waterfall.
Go back for
To get actually up to the waterfall, though, would have required better shoes than what I had on, boots of some sort that allow you to go through several inches of water. Or if you didn't mind getting your feet really wet, I guess. This was the last stop for the day for us. We jumped back in the vehicle and headed back to Reykjavik. I've included Colby's information on the screen there, so if you want to get in direct contact with them, which would be the best case, I think you would have better results than what we did through Guide to Iceland. Guide to Iceland just added a layer of complexity that made it more difficult to get in touch with him. We had some nice meals on the ship and got rested up because we had a big day coming the next day as we went down inside of a glacier. Tune back in, and we thank you for watching and hope you have safe and happy travels.